What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to do a update to the Eagle Mountain Lake breakdown that we did back in 2022, I think it was. Maybe even been 2021. It's been a while since we've been and taken a look at this lake, so I figured let's go back. We've learned a lot since then. Let's go back and let's do one of these breakdowns again and see what else we can find. So tonight, that's what we're going to focus on. We're starting here on the Texas Park and Wildlife page. That's where we always start with our Texas lakes. Let's talk a little bit about the characteristics about this lake, and then we're going to switch over to Google Earth and show you guys what we found. So it's located on the West Fork Trinity River, just north of Fort Worth and Lake Worth in Tarrant County. It's 8,738 acres, so it's not a huge lake, but still pretty decent size. Maximum depth 47 feet, and it was impounded in 1932. You can always click this little link here and it'll take you out to the current lake level if you want to look at it. The fluctuation on this lake is all over the place, 2 to 9 feet. The actual pool is at 649 feet, and the clarity is clean in the lower end near the dam and stained in the upper end. And I completely agree with that. I've actually went out and fished on this lake a little bit, and it's like night and day. It's really clear down by the dam, and then it starts getting a little bit of that tannish, brackish kind of tint to it once you get up in the north end. As far as aquatic vegetation, very little. In as far as that goes, there's some bankline stuff, but nothing too crazy. Predominant fish species: largemouth bass, spotted bass, channel catfish, white bass, and crappie. Let's take a look at the lake records really quick because that's always fun to look at that. We've got largemouth bass at 16 pounds, length of 26 inches, and that was in 2022 by Robert Bandy. So congratulations, Robert. And then if you look back, it looks like they did have some smallmouth in this lake at one time. They had a 5.36 pounder that was caught back in 2007. So let's go ahead and back this back out, and let's look at the let's look down here at the species chart, because it always gives us a pretty good idea of how our fishing is going to be when we go to this lake. But you can see here, largemouth and spotted bass are definitely good here. Catfish is good as well, and then crappie and white bass is set up for excellent. And then you got the fishing and cover structure. They give you some details here, but the upper portion of the lake has reed beds. The lower and the mid-lake areas have numerous fishing piers and boathouses that act as cover and structure for the fish. Obviously, rocky points and bluffs in the lower end of the lake can also hold fish as well. And then tips and tactics, you can read that. But it basically says largemouth bass can be found around private boat docks and the reed beds, which is exactly what it just talked about in the cover and structure. But we know we can find bass in a lot of different places, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Let's switch over to that Google Earth side. Let's see what we found. Now we switched over and we're looking at this lake, Eagle Mountain Lake, from the Google Earth perspective. So before we jump in, let me just show you over here on the left-hand side how we have everything broken down, just to kind of give you an idea of how we have everything. Now, I have gone back through this and updated a few things. There were some new ramps or some new debris that I found because of the low water that we have right now. And there were some areas where the ditches kind of moved. It looks like, the current or whatever had kind of moved the ditches since the last time we marked them. I think we were marking them from something like 2015. So the new marks are now from 2024. So a lot, probably 99% of the things stayed the same. But there were still a small percentage of things that changed, so I'll try to point those out to you as we go through these. But first, we've got bridges and culverts, not a lot of them, and roads as well, not a lot of them. We got one back here we'll talk about later. We also have channels and ditches. That's going to be all these green marks that you see, and we'll talk about those as we go through. But the basic idea of this is that we mark exactly where that channel is. So if we come up here and we know exactly where that channel is, we can really focus on the channel bends, where know easily where it's touching areas, where you've got your creek channel swings, things like that, and it allows you to really position your boat correctly in the middle of the channel. So it's sometimes kind of hard when you're looking at regular mapping, but when you look at it from a satellite imagery, you can get it dialed directly in. So this will definitely help you guys out while you're out there on the water. We also have cover and structure. Now this can be anywhere from brush piles to debris to laydowns to all kinds of different things, and we'll talk about all these as we go through this breakdown. Then we have the offshore hotspots. Now we'll talk about the offshore stuff here in a minute because it'll reset my date, and I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over probably on a next video, and we'll move over to the Navionics mobile app, and we'll take a look at this lake from the contour perspective, and we'll really focus on areas from an offshore perspective that should be good areas for you guys to take a look at. So we've got the offshore stuff. It won't show up unless I click on it and move to the date. And again, I don't want to move the date because I'm having a hard time getting this date to hold right here. So we're going to skip that. We've got the ramps as well. So all of the different ramps that are out there, if you watch any of the lake breakdown videos that we've had, I talk a lot about the boat ramp pattern and how efficient it can be. So definitely take advantage of that. You've got a lot of different boat ramps on this lake to take advantage of. And you got a lot of boat docks as well. Then you've got a lot of rock. So this lake is covered with rock, but certain areas of rock, like key areas, I really tried to point out for you guys to let you guys know where the really rocky spots are, where the areas of rock are that could have some potential to hold some fish. So we've marked that all the way across the lake. You can see that all right here. And then last but not least, we also have foundations. We didn't have a lot of them that we found out here, but we were able to find one right there off that point. So we'll talk about that in a minute as well. So let's go ahead and select everything. We'll take the offshore stuff off because it's not going to show up anyways. And what we're going to do is we're going to start down here by the dam, and we're just going to work our way to the east and up, and then we're going to come back down and finish at the dam and see what we find. So I mentioned it a few times, but I'm having a little bit of issues with the imagery here. So the best image that we can find now used to be back in 2015. Now it's actually showing March of 2024. So pretty up-to-date image. And a few things have changed. The water's moved a few things here and there, but overall, everything's pretty much stayed the same. So I'm going to leave it on March 2024, and we're just going to go down here and start right here. So we're starting out on the dam. Obviously, the dam is going to be a good place to look. I think this is the dam. Yes, it is. So the dam's always going to be a good place to look for sure because you've got the riprap around the dam. Usually you have a little bit deeper water around the dam. Fish are just attracted to dams. Dams and bridges are two places you can go to and almost guarantee to catch fish when the times are tough. So definitely keep that into consideration. But this one's more of a lake breakdown. So let's just go ahead and talk about what we found here. You can see we got a little bit of rock off this point. There's a little bit here too, but I don't think it goes very far out. But this one looked like a pretty good point to check out. And that one's probably a good point as well to look at. You also got some rock here. You can see all these different little rocky areas. There's a little bit of debris that's back in here that we marked. Now you can't see it on this image in 2024, but you can definitely see it in the 2015 image. Plus, look at the ledge that's been created back here in this corner. So pretty interesting. You know what, while we're looking at that, let me go up here and go to view and take this sidebar off so we can see this just a little bit better. So definitely that little pocket looks interesting. You've got a lot of rocky shoreline all through here. You got some really good rock here around this dock. Moving back in here, I didn't see too much. There's a little ditch back in here, but nothing too crazy. Then we move up here. We've also got some pretty decent rock that's out here off this point. Now in this image, you can't see it, but again, in 2015, you could definitely see it. And you can tell there's rock all around this point out here. So these are probably some pretty good docks to fish around. The fact that they got all that good rock around them too, and they look like they're out more towards the middle lake, so they probably have some pretty good depth as well. We did pick up some debris in that older image. You can't see it here, and again, I don't want to switch back and forth. One, I'll make you dizzy, and two, I'll lose my spot. So just trust me when I say there was some debris there. We saw that when the lake was a little bit lower in 2015, you could see a little bit of debris there. Then moving on up, again, lots of docks and stuff that you could fish around. We get in here, and this little area gets kind of interesting. One, you've got this thing. This is like a little boat ramp, probably like an old boathouse. It doesn't even look like it exists anymore. Maybe it's under that tree and I can't see it, but usually they run down those rails. Those rails can be pretty productive, so you may want to try those. And then move over here, you've got some pipes that come out here, and there's also quite a bit of rock out in here. So just check out this little pocket right in that area. See if you can find anything. Let's keep moving. We got a ramp there. We got more rock out here off of this point. We've got some really good rock right in here. Like, look how much it changes. You can almost see the transition. It's kind of light rock, you know, scattered rock. And then all of a sudden you get in here and it gets really chunky. And so I'm thinking this dock right here is probably a pretty good dock to fish around considering the cover that you've got around that dock. So let me back out, kind of show you guys where I'm at. All we've done is gone through that pocket. We're gonna keep moving on up here. See what else we can find up here. We do have some rock off these points. Some really good rock back in here. So if you're, fishing back and you're pretty far back in there, some pretty good rock back in there. This is pretty cool right here. That almost, if you ask me, that looks like a boat. Looks like an image of a bass boat, but there's nothing there. It's just a little trickery from the Google Earth. But you also have some rock that comes out here off this point. So if you notice this point, it's a pretty good secondary point. Comes back in here, sticks out a little bit. Has some pretty good areas back in here for them to get in shallow to, but they could also use this as a stopping point. So that might be a pretty interesting place to look. Another place that you might want to take a look at that I didn't mark is this little area right here. It looks like this point jets out and you've got a really good hard spot right in here. So definitely look at that as well if you're out here just, you know, roaming around looking for some stuff to fish. You got some shallow rock that's up in there. Excuse me. Some more shallow rock in here. Some more rock that's up in here as well, just around this point. I can see this little point maybe being somewhat productive. It's nothing crazy, but it does have a little bit of shallow rock that maybe you could do some cranking around or things like that. We're gonna go up here. This is where that channel is. You've got a little creek channel that comes back here. Really nothing too crazy. I mean, you might want to test this outside, you know, maybe from right here where that gets rocky, like right in here could be pretty good if that creek channel's swinging up against it. You've also got the boat ramp that's right there. You got a little bit of rock that's back in here. You've got an old pond that's back here too. So you can see it's got like an old pond or a dig out. You can actually see where the creek channels moved. So this was from 2015 and we probably need to move it just a hair. So it's actually moved just a little bit to there. So we're gonna leave it right there and correct that creek channel for you guys. So let's move this up here. We've got really good rock here, right around those docks. Good rock around the point. We've got an old road bed that's somewhere up in here. You can see it. It's almost like a ramp, or maybe it is a ramp that people use or used to use, but it looks like an old road bed. So it probably comes out right in here. I guarantee this is a pretty good spot to go take a look at. And it's really close to a major boat ramp, so it's probably a community hole. So we'll keep moving up. We got a little bit of rock right here at the edge of that point. Some more shallow stuff up here, but the lake's gonna have to come up quite a bit. And again, in 2015, we picked up something that was out here, a little bit outside of that dock and a little bit deeper water that we were showing some debris. So come out here, scan around that area, see if you can find anything around that area. Gonna move on up. We've got some more ramps that are back in here. We've got also some debris that I saw out here off this point, again, when the water was just a little bit lower. So you'll wanna do a lot of scanning around this point and just see there could be some brush piles out there that people have put out there. There's no telling what's out there, but something was out there because we were picking it up on the satellite. Couldn't really tell what it was though. It wasn't defined enough for us to really tell what was going on. Now you can tell in here though, we've got check. I think these are little rock piles. I've got one here. There's actually one shallow right here, but there's another one that's out here too. So this little point may have like 3 little interesting areas that you may just want to go check out. I'll back this back out and show you guys where I'm at. There's that marina. So I'm gonna keep moving over. Same type thing out here. We got a little rock pile that was out here. And then we got shallow rock going on up here, up these bank lines, just a couple little areas that I wanted to point out to you guys. Moving up here, you got a ramp. You got some more rock that's out here on this bank line. This bank line is actually pretty rocky. So this could be interesting. This one almost looks like it might have a little bit of depth in here. You know, it's got some shade, things like that. So that could be an interesting little area to fish. There's also something in here. You can't see it again on this image, but check this area. Just do some scanning around this area. There's a little brush pile out there or something that we were able to see. I'm gonna keep moving this down. We've also got some rock here. Really cool little rocky points that jet out here. Fish love to set up on stuff like that. This one as well. And these two. So they're all kind of the same. But you can tell looks like when the water's up, they've got decent depth on them. So definitely, you know, this little area right in here, fishing in here, and then maybe skip those docks and move over to here and fish these little rocky points real quick. You know, maybe be able to pick up a couple of keepers between that area. All right, we're gonna keep moving up. Again, some shallow rock. I'm not gonna point out all the shallow rock because there's a ton of it on here, but there's something special about it. I'll point it out to you, kind of like this one where you get these that come out like this and they have the rock on the outside. Those are always good areas to go take a look at. You got a lot of ramps in that area too. Another ramp in here. You got some rock on the outside of this this marina. Now another place that can be productive, obviously right here too around this marina. Any rock around the marina you're going to want to fish around. But also these seawalls. Now I'm not sure on Eagle Mountain. I've never fished the seawalls on Eagle Mountain, but when you get these breakwalls that are like this, sometimes you can find fish that will get attracted to it, and you can set up there and you can pretty much live scope them around those things. And if you don't have live scope, you can go up there and throw an A-rig really tight to it, or a crankbait, something like that, or just a regular like minnow, you know, just throw a swim bait out there and just get it as parallel to that thing as possible. And a lot of times you'll be able to pick up some pretty good fish. So we keep moving out here. We got some more rock there. We got some more ramp, a little more rock right in here. You can see just kind of scattered throughout. Same thing here, a little transition area here though. I've got the rock marked here, but really we should move that to about right there. And the reason why is because notice how the transition goes, it's clay or whatever this is, just kind of dirt, and then it transitions to the rock. Well, right around that transition area is usually where they like to hang out at. Then we're gonna move on up, got some more rock, got some ramps, more rock over here. We got some laydowns that are out here, and maybe it's like a little ditch or a little creek that comes down through here. So kind of got that marked for you guys. That one looks like it's carved out a little bit more, so we could probably update that one too. Let's go ahead and hit if I can get it here. We might not be updating that one. There we go. Ooh, that one's got a lot of dots. Let's just move this one over just a hair because now it swings out to the side. And right in here, take a look right in there if you're out there checking this out and you're way back in here, but definitely anywhere you have those big turns like that, right in there and then right on the edge right there. We've also got some laydowns that are back in there. Some stuff I wanted you to check that was up in here. This just looks like some debris or something that was out off the edge of this point. Then we're gonna get a little bit further up. I didn't see a lot all through here. Right? It just kind of gets bare up in here. But as you moved up in here, there were a couple laydowns you could take a look at. There's some boat ramps that are up here. There's some really shallow rock that's around here in this area. You can see we've got it all marked for you guys. More ramps here. A little bit of a ditch there, but I'm not sure how productive it'd be. There's not a lot of cover around it. You do have a little bit of timber that's out here too, so be careful out here off this point. There could be some standing timber out there, and two, it could be a good spot for you to go take a look at, see if there's any fish hanging around that timber. I'm gonna move on up. We got some more ramps in here. Good looking rock all right in here. Love this point here. Love the rock that's around that point as well. We're gonna move on up. Got a little channel that goes back in here. You can see it kind of swerves back in here, so you can go take a look at that. That dock right here and this dock right here, even though to me this doesn't look like that great of an area to fish, but if I was, I'd probably focus a little bit on these two docks just because they're close to that creek channel. We've got some laydowns back in here too, some more shallow rock. We got a little pond that's up here. And I don't know if that's a pond or if they just dug this thing out for this mansion that they built up here to make sure they had enough depth, but it makes it look like a pond. I also got a little bit of cover that's out here, and again, can't show this one because the image, but go out there and scan around, see if you can find anything there. And then you got this creek channel back here with some good rocks and laydowns. Got a nice little ramp that's there as well. Some pretty good rock over here by this dock. Just some shallow rock. This right here could be an interesting spot. Depending on the water depth, right? If the water's deep enough up here, this is almost like a little pond dam. So this is gonna be a little bit deeper, and then it comes up, it's gonna get shallow here and then it get deeper again. So right around this area, you want to take a look at that and just see if there's anything up there. Then you've got more ramps up here, a ton of ramps. Look at all the ramps that are up here, but not really anything else other than this big creek channel that runs all the way through here. You've got this little creek back here. There is a little pile back here, really shallow. There's another one right here, really shallow, but nothing too crazy. Maybe come out here, look at that. I'm not really sure. That just kind of looks like a hot mess up there. So I'm gonna keep moving down. Lots of ramps. Let's go down this west side. Won't take us long because it's just a bunch of ramps for the most part. But we got some more rock that's right in there. Ramps, some debris that's outside that dock. Ramps, more ramps, ramps galore, ramps galore, ramps galore. Finally, we get down here and there's a little bit of shallow rock over here. St. Somewhere Lake House, that's interesting. And then we're gonna move down here. We're gonna get down here by this point. Let me back up just kind of so you guys can keep up with me. I'm about right here on the lake right now. All right, so I'm gonna zoom back in. We're gonna go take a look at this point. This point's got really good rock around it. I assume that this point is probably a pretty good point. There's not a lot of stuff out here in this area, so that being a point and having rock on it, probably a pretty good spot to look at. Got some more ramps that are back in here. Let's back this out, a little creek channel back in here. Again, just ramps galore on this side. A little bit of rock off this point though. If you come out here, it's very shallow. So the lake's gonna have to be up, but you do have a little bit of rock up there that you can take a look at. That point may be productive, but again, unless someone's put some piles out there or things like that, you may scan over here and see if anybody's put any brush piles or debris piles or something like that out there. But if you look at those points, there's just nothing on them. They're just clay. I don't even know if clay is what it is, but just basically dirt points. Also like this point right here, this is a main lake point. Surely something collects here, and more than likely, a high percentage, someone's put some stuff out here somewhere. So again, an area you may want to scan. I can't see anything here with my mapping, or with Navionics doesn't show anything either, but just the fact that's a main lake point, typically people put a lot of stuff out there. Now if you swing to this side, you will see some debris that's over here, some more debris that's over here, and a little foundation that's out there too. So that's some pretty good offshore stuff you could take a look at. Now this is the area where things change a little bit. This little ditch changed a little bit on the imagery, and I think this channel here, it used to swing down more, and for some reason it swings back up now. So I just moved those. Everything pretty much stayed the same. The laydowns, the debris all stayed the same, and the channel stayed the same here. This little pinch points could be a pretty little interesting place to fish, right around in here, or even right around in there. Let's move on down, see what else we can find. We've got a lot of ramps, and then we've got rocks, and then in a couple places we've got these pipes. So I just want to show these to you really quick. These are these long extended white pipes that come out into the water, and you know, a lot of people are just going to drive right past them and not think anything of them, but I've fished on several lakes now in Texas where these pipes will hold fish. So the bigger the pipe, the better, obviously, but if you find a group of pipes, 2 or 3 of them or 4 of them that are all coming into the same area, fishing around those pipes sometimes can be pretty good areas to take a look at. Got a lot of ramps there as well. Some more pipes there to take a look at. Like this one's got, what, 4 different pipes here. This could definitely be one of those areas. Now, it doesn't look like an area of the lake you're probably going to be at, but if you're over there, you may want to check it out. More ramps, more shallow rocks, some debris down there as well. Just a lot of ramps in here. You've got some more debris that's back here too. This one was pretty interesting. This was the best image actually that we had. This, for some reason, the other one doesn't give you as good of an image. But if you move in here and you zoom in, you'll notice there's some kind of debris that's right here. There's a little bit more here, and there's a little bit here. These may just be laydowns, but this is pretty big. Whatever this is, pretty good size. So it could be something to check out. Moving on down, lots of ramps, really good rock all around this marina. Those are always good places to fish for sure. And then now we're back on the rocky side, right? So here's where the rock's gonna start popping up. We've got the ramps. We got some pretty good rock that's out here. Look at this big chunky stuff. That's always fun to fish around. Got another main ramp that's right there, a little bit of rock here. We may be getting into the swim area, so I'm not sure you can fish there or not, but we also got some more rock in here. A little bit in there, some more ramps, and then really good rock all around this whole area. So you can see it's that big, chunky stuff. A couple of different areas where it points out, gets a little bit further out there. This is a nice little rocky area here, where if you're just looking at the bank, you may think it disappears, but it doesn't. Actually, it's pretty heavy right there outside that point. More rock all in here, so this could be like a little good crankbait area. You know, you could run that stretch and see what you can find. And then last but not least, we've got this little point down here by the dam that's got that rock, and you know that's going to be a good spot as well. So that covers us for the Google Earth side of Eagle Mountain Lake. Next time I come back, I'll be talking to you guys about the offshore hotspots for Eagle Mountain Lake. We're going to do that with the Navionics mobile app. If you want to go ahead and get these waypoints before then, don't worry, you can just go out simplisticfishing.com, pick up your waypoints. You can get the digital files, and we'll email them to you where you've got the Google Earth stuff, the Navionics mobile stuff, and you got the files that you basically just take and you copy and paste it to a card and put it in your graph. Or you can buy the SD card. We'll already have the card made for you, and we'll also send you the digital files. So either way, you get everything. So go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.